Good day, greetings students. I am very happy to meet you all again in grade 12 economics. We are in part B of economics, that is the IED, Indian Economic Development. What are we doing here in Indian economic development? It is essential for us to know the economic structure of our country and from where to where we have come. How much has our country attained in economic development? In general terms, development has a different meaning from what actually economic development means. So, a development of a country eppadi measure pannalam appadina, you can have the human development index. Development of a country human development index யூஸ் பண்ணி நீங்கள் மெஷர் பண்ணலாம். அதுக்கான இண்டிசைசஸ் என்ன நம்ம ஏற்கனவே பார்த்துருக்கோம். Isn't it children? ஸோ ஒரு கண்ட்ரியோட development of a country is measured through the human development index. நம்மளோட position, we are somewhere around 130th country out of 180 countries. So நம்மளோட index அங்கே என்னவா இருக்குது? நம்மளோட ranking out of 180 countries we are in the position of 130. Now what we are going to understand here is what are the indicators, what are the deciding factors for this. எதை வச்சு நீங்கள் வந்து human development index சொல்லலாம்? How can you say that a country is developed or developing or not developed, underdeveloped னு எதை வச்சு சொல்லலாம் அப்படின்னா, there are 4 important factors. Especially it's about the life expectancy or the lifespan of the people of the country. அங்கே இருக்கிற பீப்புளுக்கு இருக்கிற லைஃப் எக்ஸ்பெக்டன்சி எவ்வளோ நாளைக்கு அவங்களால இருக்க முடியும். ஓகே, தென் யூ ஹாவ் the per capita income, then you have years of schooling, and finally you have the mean years of schooling. So life expectancy is depending on the medical facilities we have. நம்ம கிட்ட இருக்கிற medical facilities, நம்மளோட nutrition value, நம்ம people follow பண்ணுற diet, இதெல்லாம் வச்சு you can decide on the life expectancy. Whereas when you talk about the per capita income, it is the average income of every individual. So நம்மளோட national income ஓட value எடுத்து we have to divide it by the population, by the working population, and it gives a per capita income, that is an average income of a citizen of this country. And then years of schooling is very important. Schooling means education. So basic years of schooling எவ்வளோ நம்ம ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம், and are the children really undergoing that many years of schooling? Through the mean years of schooling you can find it out. Alright children, so these are the indicators, the deciding factors of the human development index, which in turn decides the development of a country, how developed a country is. So we are named as a developing country. And what did we want to become? We wanted to become economically developed country. What did we want to become? Economically developed country இருக்கணும் நம்ம ஆசைப்படுறோம். So when you talk about economically developed country, being self-reliant is the first thing. Being self-reliant. What do we mean by self-reliant? எந்த கண்ட்ரியையும் டிபெண்ட் பண்ணாமல் நம்மளோட கண்ட்ரியை பார்த்துக்கிறது. இட்ஸ் கால்ட் self-reliance. It is one of the important goals that all the 5-year plans had. எல்லா 5-year plans, all 12 5-year plans had this common goal of being self-reliant. Alright children, and then what else we wanted to be? We want to be good in our GDP. நம்மளோட national income குட்டாக இருக்கணும்னு நம்ம நினைக்கிறோம். Okay, so employment opportunities should be there, and there should be equity. What we should have? Equity. Employment opportunities ஒரு செக்டாருக்கு மட்டும் இல்லாமல் it should be equitable to all the sectors of people. So equity should be there. Alright children, then modernization. What should we have? We should have modernized thought process. What should we have children? We should have modernized thought process as well as modernized technological updations, developments. இது எல்லாமே இருக்கணும். Clear children? That's about economically developed country. Now, where we were before the colonial rule, we were wealthy, we were self-reliant, we were really doing well in exports also. நம்மளோட handicrafts நிறைய கண்ட்ரிக்கு நம்ம எக்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தோம், and that was a really good thing. But during colonial rule, we were restricted in many terms. நிறைய different விஷயங்கள்ல நம்மளை ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ட் பண்ணாங்க. Okay, so what happened because of that? We were in a crippling position when the British left us. So independence கொடுத்துட்டு when they are leaving us, we were in a very critical position economically. We were independent, but still we had to depend on other countries for food. How sad is that? So that's when many things happened between the years of 1950 to 1990. Many reforms were brought in the sectors of agriculture, industry, and trade. Okay, there were many changes with these three departments: agriculture, industry and trade. இங்கெல்லாம் நிறைய reforms கொண்டு வந்தோம். For example, in agriculture field, we brought land reforms, land ceiling. Okay, we wanted to be self-reliant. We wanted to make the tillers of the land as the owners of the land. That was happening. And in industry, we brought the Indian Industrial Policy Resolution in 1956, which gave lots of paths. அதில் வந்து நிறைய industrial divisions இருந்துச்சு. So public sectors, private sectors, and a sector where both were there. இது எல்லாமே அங்கே இருந்துச்சு. Trade. Since we wanted to be self-reliant, we wanted to stop imports or at least restrict imports. Import substitution ஒரு thing இருந்துச்சு. So we had to constrain ourselves with imports. We were not allowed to import as much as we want. There was a restriction on it. Alright children, so that was there. Clear? Then all this led to many problems. So in mid 1980s, we faced a twin deficit. Many problems were there. Import bills increased, exports decreased, and this called in for a new economic policy. இது எல்லாமே நம்ம பார்த்தோம். இது எல்லாமே problems. We had to go for borrowing. Even other countries were not ready to lend us. அவங்க யாருமே நமக்கு lend பண்ண ரெடியா இல்லை. They were not interested in lending to us because our economic condition was very bad. We did not have any backups. சரி, இவங்களுக்கு இன்றைக்கி நம்ம கொடுத்தாலும் நாளைக்கு இப்போது when you want to borrow, you need to pledge something. உங்களோட house or documento or some gold or some assets have to be pledged, has to be given as guarantee. So இன்னைக்கு நான் if I can't repay, you can take that assets ன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க இல்லையா. We say that bank has seized my property, ஜப்தி பண்ணிட்டாங்க. We say that. What is that? For not repaying the loans, they have taken up our property. Okay, they'll sell that property and recover the money. So what we also had to do as a country, we had to pledge 67 tons of gold. How much? 67 tons of gold. Almost the entire gold basket was airlifted and it was pledged to IMF, the International Monetary Fund, to get amount, to get money to adjust the situation. ஏன்னா நம்மளோட import bills இருக்கிற பொசிஷனில் even for a fortnight you cannot run the country. You have to look out for people, you have to give money for people, you have to arrange food for them. அது எதுக்குமே உங்ககிட்ட பணம் இல்லை in our country. So what we had to do, we had to borrow from IMF. All around $7 billion were borrowed, okay, for adjusting this situation. IMF gave around $2.2 billion loan, and rest we had to arrange here and there, and totally we had around $7 billion loan. நம்மளோட கண்ட்ரியை ஒரு பிக் கிரைசிஸ்லேருந்து மீட்கிறதுக்கு நமக்கு தேவைப்பட்டது எவ்வளோ? $7 billion. So that's what we are going to discuss in this. So India approached the IBRD, that is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So India approached IBRD and IMF for what? For financial support. For what did they approach? For financial support. What does IBRD stand for? It's an important abbreviation that all of you should know for sure. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Okay, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD. Reconstruction to bring back to its original state, to make some changes necessary. So this bank is popularly known as the World Bank. IBRD நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்றோம்? World Bank. And what does IMF stand for? International monetary fund. What is it called? International Monetary Fund. So India approached the World Bank and IMF for loans, and they received about $7 billion as loan to manage the crisis. Now, how much did they pledge? எவ்வளோ gold pledge பண்ணாங்க? 67 tons of gold was airlifted, and then we got the loan. So usually when you get a loan, there are some terms and conditions. Likewise, these organizations, these banks, these institutions gave some conditions for giving this loan. Those terms and conditions for this loan was India should liberalize. They felt that the rules and regulations are very tough, that nobody will come forward to do this. அந்த செக்டரில் இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ண யாருமே ரெடியாக இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஸோ யூ நீட் டு லிபரலைஸ். டு லிபரல்னா என்ன? பீயிங் not strict, the opposite of being strict, okay, being a little lenient. So rules, necessary rules, fine, but not too many rules. So India should liberalize, and what else India should do? It should open up the economy. India should enter the open market economy. What else we have to do? We have to liberalize the policies that we have, the rules we have, and of course we have to enter the open market economy. What is an open market economy, children? An economy where an individual is allowed to buy or sell products with the rest of the country, rest of the world. Okay, so இப்போ நான் இங்கே இருந்துட்டு என்னோட ப்ராடக்ட்ஸை நான் எக்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ணணும்னு நினச்சா I can do it, and if I want to import I can do it. So remove restrictions, okay, reduce or remove restrictions. In some places few restrictions couldn't be removed. சில ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன்ஸை நம்மளால் ரிமூவ் பண்ணவே முடியாது. Right, those are very essential restrictions. For example, no smoking near this area. இது ஒரு no smoking ஏரியாங்கிறது it's a restriction, but there are certain people who can't do that. So அவங்களுக்குன்னு ஒரு ஏரியா கொடுக்குறாங்க இல்லையா? In some countries, not in our country, there is a thing called smoking zone. அங்கே போய் அவங்க இருக்கலாம். So they have reduced the restriction, isn't it? Similarly, we cannot control the alcoholics. Don't drink நம்ம சொல்கிறோம், don't drink சொல்லிகிட்டே தான் இருக்கும், but still there are people who go against it. So finally what did the government do? They said don't drink and drive. There is a reduction in the restriction. Some restrictions were totally removed, like imports பண்ணவே கூடாதுங்கிற restriction we have removed, and only public sector will be ruling. சில sectors எல்லாமே public sector கிட்ட தான் இருக்குங்கிற அந்த restriction we removed it entirely. Okay, so these were the things. So India, no other way, we had to agree to these terms and conditions and introduced India agreed to these conditions because we need the loan, otherwise Indian government cannot run, India cannot survive. So India agreed to these and framed the new economic policy in 1991. What was framed? The new economic policy was framed in 1991, which brought in 3 important economic reforms. Idhil evlo economic reforms irundhathu in the new economic policy la? 3 important economic reforms were there. And let's discuss what are these economic reforms brought in by the new economic policy 1991. Okay, so what are we going to discuss now? We are going to discuss about the new economic policy. Alright children, so the NEP consisted of wide-ranging economic reforms. The thrust of the policies was towards creating a more competing environment in the economy and removing the barriers. So now we are going to discuss the National Economic Policy 1991. It focused on removing unwanted restrictions. Okay, it focused on removing what? The unwanted restrictions, and also decreasing the barriers. Okay, இப்போ நம்ம license permit raj இருந்துச்சு இல்லையா, so bringing it making it easier way. Okay, instead of going to the office, waiting in the line, waiting for a long time to meet the manager, now everything is online. So the system was made easier to adapt to. Okay, decreased barriers. Okay, so this focused on creating, so what did it create? Created a more competing economy. So there was a competing economy between whom? The private sectors and the public sectors, because now through this policy we are going to open up for the global economy namma paathutom. So that means our products should be that good, isn't it? Our products should be that good, illatna we can't survive in the market. So what will the Indian producers, the domestic producers do? They will have to rise up to the challenge and produce good quality products. Okay, so this set of policies can be broadly classified into 2 groups. What are those 2 groups? The stabilization measures and structural reform measures. So they brought in many measures. Okay, they are classified into 2 categories. One is called the stabilization measures and structural measures. Stabilization means to keep it at a normal rate, to stabilize the economy, not having so many fluctuations. Fluctuations are control panni or a normal level la kondu poradhu. It's a stabilization measures. Structural measures bringing in new beginnings, புதுசா ஏதாவது கிரியேட் பண்றது, that's the structural measures. Okay, stabilization measures are short-term measures intended to correct some of the weaknesses that have developed in the balance of payments and to bring inflation under control. So what are these measures for அப்படிங்கறத நம்ம இப்ப டிஸ்கஸ் பண்றோம். What are the two kinds of measures we had, children? Stabilization measures and structural measures. So we have stabilization measures. These measures focused on what? These are short-term measures actually. To do what? To correct some of the weaknesses that have developed in balance of payments. To correct the weakness in balance of payments and to control, to bring inflation under control. To control inflation. Inflation means what? Rise in prices. What does it mean? Rise in prices. Clear? Okay. In simple words, this means that there was a need to maintain sufficient foreign exchange reserves and keeping the rising prices under control. So we had to maintain foreign exchange reserves. We saw in open economy, open market economy, we saw balance of payments la நம்ம என்ன வெச்சிருக்கணும், foreign exchange reserves, so that only you can manage your country's capital account and current account. So that is very essential to control the price rise. Okay, on the other hand, structural reform policies. So this is about stabilization measures. What about the structural measures, the structural reforms? They are long-term policies. They are what? Long-term policies. And then what? Aimed at improving the efficiency of the economy and increasing its international competitiveness by removing the rigidities in the various segments of Indian economy. The government initiated a variety of policies which fall under three headings. Now, long-term policies to improve efficiency, that is proper use of resources, and increase what? International competitiveness. Increase international competitiveness, which focused on many reforms that are named under three important titles. Okay, so under this National Economic Policy 1991, we had two different categories of the measures or the reforms. One is called the stabilization and one is called the structural reforms. Stabilization reforms or measures are known to be short-term measures, and they are meant for what, children? To adjust the weakness in the balance of payments. Balance of payments la irukra weakness correct பண்றதுக்காக in the short term measures to avoid the fluctuations, to stabilize everything. And then we have to control inflation, rise in prices control பண்றதுக்காக இத கொண்டு வந்தாங்க. And to maintain the foreign exchange reserves. And structural measures, what are the structural measures? Long term policies, that is to improve the efficiency of the economy, to increase international competitiveness. So globalization gradhe inge dhaan varudhu, to increase international competitiveness, world oda nama compete pananum. So that means we'll also give quality products. So what are the structural reforms that came, children? We have liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So as the name say, liberalization was about reducing the restrictions and removing unwanted rules and regulations. ஏற்கனவே இருந்த ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன்ஸ் ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ரிக்டாக இருந்ததை கொஞ்சம் லீனியன் பண்ணாங்க, தேவையில்லாத இருந்த ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன்ஸை ரிமூவ் பண்ணாங்க. Privatization, we saw that most of the industries were under the control of public sector. Public sector கிட்ட தான் நிறைய industries இருந்துச்சு. Private industries, even though they could do well, they were not given the opportunity to do so. So privatization மூலமா public sectors held 4 important sectors with them and gave the rest of the sectors to private sectors. Disinvestment nu or policy kondu vandu public sectors private sectors maathinaanga. Globalization, opening our economy for imports and exports. This is when imports and exports resumed. You need imports and exports, illaya? Sometimes there is no other way you can produce petroleum. You need to import it. Nama country la kadakadha sila things irukku, you need to import them. And of course, if you want to adjust your import bills, you need to export. Export pannada namakku irukra foreign exchange reserves increase agum, isn't it? Only if you have this globalized economy, you will be able to manage your foreign exchange reserves and foreign exchange itself. Adha vechu dhaan nama foreign exchange decide pandrom. Alright children, now we have so many international companies coming to our country to work. They come here to set up industries. How many international companies we see here? Isn't it? They come here, they set up industries here and they work. Sometimes our companies, they sell their products to other countries. When there is an advertisement, avanga solranga it is also available in that country, in this country. And internet has made globalization very easy. From here, every even textile shops, jewelry, everything has a website. Online shopping is possible. So angerna inga vaanguranga, that becomes a part of the national income, isn't it? Exports are also part of national income. So in the reforms brought in, these reforms were actually a result of the financial crisis that we faced in June 1991. So within a month, these reforms were brought in. These took their place from July 1991, and from then we have been following liberalization, privatization and globalization. So we'll be starting the next session with our discussion on liberalization. Till then, I want you to just quickly recall whatever we have studied in this chapter. And of course, in your business studies, in the third chapter in business environment, we have discussed about this new economic policy. Go through that also, recall the points from there, and we'll combine this and that to get in deeper into the subject. I hope you have understood the topic. If at all you have any doubts, please feel free to reach me out and get your doubts clarified. Thank you, and may you all have a wonderful day today.